welcome back everyone. This week's Picture of the Week being brought to you by Flowers Garden Center and Deer Processing. They are switching over, ladies and gentlemen, as we speak. July 4th is going to be their last of the Garden Center. Then they're going to be switching gears to deer processing. They got a lot to do to get ready for the upcoming deer season. They're out there at 4550 Eaton's Creek Road. Go by there and give them a shout. Okay, our first picture here. We've got a couple of pictures here. Now Marty, who is this here?
That's me and Charlie. We won the Angler of the Year race in the Fishers and Men in the North Alabama
That
side
is awesome.
And people think, just because you're fishing with your son, that you ain't fishing against competition. We beat out
you beat some boys out.
10 of some of the best fishermen on the Tennessee River fishes with their sons in that.
Oh yeah.
Their daughters.
Yeah.
Like Bradley Cross, he fishes with his daughter, and they will beat you.
They will beat you tough. Our next picture here will show, who's this sweet lady?
That's my wife, Holly. She's holding up about a 5-pound smallmouth there. She caught that actually on one of Jeff's swim baits. It wasn't the big one, but it was one of the medium ones. And we was running it on the back of a spinnerbait.
Now that's another thing I wanted to say. You could use these swim baits as a trailer on those spinnerbaits. And it would give off a lot of action. So great job.
That one was on Percy Priest. And,
I kind of thought that was Percy Priest right there.
You can tell the difference in those in the Tennessee River. They're long and skinny here, and they're wide and fat down there.
They're short and fat and to the point down there. That's awesome.
They ain't near as vicious up here as they are down there.
Hey, you can send your pictures to us here at Southern Woods and Waters, 474 James Robertson Parkway, Nashville, Tennessee, 37219, or simply email them to me here at southernwoodsandwaters.com. We'll have them on here really, really fast. We appreciate Marty bringing them on here. Now, we are going to open up our phone lines, 615-737-7767. Marty and the crew up here will be willing to answer any question you might have pertaining to hunting, fishing, or the outdoor sports. So give us a call. Until then, we're going to keep continuing talking. Now Marty, I want to be one of these fishermen that you guys talk about all the time that will, you know what your strong points are. Mine is crankbaits and soft plastics. I mean, it's an either or for me. I would think my third would be like top water. But you should go out, if you want to better yourself each time you go out, you need to go out and try something new. A new technique or a new way of doing it, or like you said before, go find some new water. I hear that from every one of the pros, and one of these days it's going to sink into me, but drop shotting, Joy and I got to feel a little bit of that on Center Hill. We were catching spotted bass, and it was in October. It was a lot of fun because you could drop it and hold on and jig it a couple, a little bit fast, little repeated stuff, and then all of a sudden, pink, and there the line goes out there. It was a blast.
Oh yeah, it is.
But how can we apply that technique to our summertime fishing and put the 5 in the boat?
Well, anytime you're fishing a tournament, you're after those 5 big fish, but you need to have a backup plan to catch that limit. If you're fishing a tournament series, you need to have those 5 fish. It don't matter if they weigh a pound. You need to have those 5. Me and Charlie, we wouldn't have won the Anglers of the Year if we hadn't had a limit of fish.
You go after your 5 first, right?
Well, no, not necessarily. Normally, I'll go where I've caught bigger fish or my best fish first. But when it gets up around 11 o'clock and I'm needing that last one, I'm fixing to go find it because I'm going to have 5 at the end of the day. I learned that from Aaron Martins. Me and him fished together several times practicing. He really showed me a lot about that drop shotting. And
now he's the king of it right now.
Pretty much. Aaron's a good fisherman.
And he uses it primarily all year long.
Me and Charlie is going to Atlanta to Lake Lanier at the end of this month to fish a national championship, and that's more than likely that's what we'll do up in the heat of the day.
This is a great heat of the day technique.
Now you hunt the thermocline wherever that thermocline's at. You find like a ridge or a point, side of a ledge that's pretty much the same depth as that thermocline, and that's where your fish will be.
That's a good point right there.
You have to use, you have to have pretty good electronics to find them, but I use Lowrance electronics, and you can see it.
Equipment-wise, what do you need to have a good drop shotting rig? Is it necessarily a caster, or is it a spin cast? Or?
I use a spinning.
A spinning rod?
Yeah, I use a Shimano Sahara.
Right.
All three of mine are Shimano Saharas, and I got G-Loomis rods, mounted on. And
what kind of action do you use on your rods now?
normally medium heavy.
Medium heavies. Do you want a soft tip, or do you want a strong tip? Or
it's like these Loomises here. I can use anywhere from 10 to 25 pound test line on this 843C, but it's because of the tip action.
Right.
And two, you got to be careful, keep the drag monitored, to make sure that it'll slip enough that it won't break that light line. I can tell you a story about if you think the line don't make no difference. If I'm not mistaken, we was fishing the Alabama Federation tournament, and this was back about 2003. And I got a bad draw, lost the flip, had to fish out of the back of the boat. And the guy in the front of the boat is one of the best fishermen out in Alabama. His name's Tom Southern. He lives in Sylacauga, Alabama. Well, we're going down this bank, and I can see those fish laying on those stumps down there. They're 2 and 3 pound spots. And he's flipping at them. They not touching nothing. And anyway, I pick up my reel, which has got 10 pound test fluorocarbon on it, launch that lizard down there, and it takes it quick as it hits it. I done this to him like 6 or 7 times going up that bank. He'd flip in there first and wouldn't touch it. Well, we made us a circle, and he asked me what I wanted to do. I had the most fish, and I said I'd like to go back out there where it's deeper and come back in there again. But when we was coming in, I seen 2 logs. It was laid over just like that right there in a little trough. Well, he pulls up there, and he's just wearing that log out with that lizard, and he gets hung. He starts up there, and I said, Tom, let me flip in there right quick. I flipped in there, and the 5 pounder grabbed it. And I thought the man was going to have a come apart because he didn't understand. But I made a great friend that day. I stayed with Tom. I went and fished a TBF tournament last month, and I got to stay with him down at Sylacauga, and it's always a pleasure to see him and his wife.
Now, there's another story to that, because just because a person gets hung up, and you have confidence that area is holding fish, I lay my rod down and just grab another one and fish on.
Well, in those TBF tournaments, you're not allowed to have but one line in the water at a time.
There you go.
You have to pay attention to those rules, or you'll get disqualified.
That's exactly right. I would have been disqualified then, but these little old tournaments we have around here, you can do that. I mean, and it's just to save you from going in and kind of muddying up a place that was holding fish.
You can do that.
So but I didn't know that about the TBF thing.
Yeah, I mean it's the same way in bass, FLW. You can't have but one line in the water at a time.
One line in the water at a time. Good deal. Good deal. What in that though? You like fluorocarbon for drop shot?
I use a 24 pound test braid. I can't remember the name of the braid, but I mount it up on the spinning rig, and I run like a 10 to 12 foot fluorocarbon leader, 10 pound test leader off of it with a surgeon knot, and then it's down there. But it's because I can throw that braid so far.
Oh yeah.
And people don't realize when you're fishing 50 or 60 foot deep, you need to make as far, the cast needs to be as far as possible, because it's steady on coming back to you, and you need to flip the bail, and feed it line to let it go, especially if you're fishing 50 or 60 foot deep. I'd be catching them, and people out there watching me catch them, and them trying to do the same thing, and there's no way their bait was even making it to the bottom.
Yeah, their bait was 20 foot this way, back towards the boat.
It's difficult to fish that drop shot. It's something that's totally different. It's like flipping a jig and throwing a crankbait.
I have noticed that one of the Orientals from Japan that fishes the BASS, he likes to drop shot too.
You talking about Takahiro?
Yeah, Takahiro.
Yeah, me and Takahiro Takahiro and Chuck Economo used to stay together.
Oh my goodness.
What we'd do was also broke. We'd rent one camping area and we'd have 3 boats backed into that one camping area, hooked up off of a three-way plug going into it. But this was back before Takahiro won, the Bassmaster Classic, and all of us were struggling. There wasn't a lot of sponsors, but Takahiro is a really good fella.
He is, and I was amazed. He did just exactly like you said. He would watch his graph, drop shot, but he wouldn't flip his spool till he was getting ready. He knew that fish was fixing to hit it.
Yep.
He would leave it open because he was motoring around a little bit, and if it just made that much difference, he would drop it down that much more, or bring it up if he thought he was going over the top of a rock. But he did really well with that drop shot rig on that tournament you were talking about.
Yeah, to Takahiro, his famous words, "How you catch them fish?"
Now you got to know. I mean, you've made a lot of friends out there on the road, and rightly so. But it is tough living.
It's not necessarily, tough living. It's the pressure. Trying to perform. You need to cash a check to do good. And you can go catch them in practice, but that don't mean nothing after that off limits period. That's you got to know what you're doing if you're out there.
You got to know.
And to be honest with you, I got out there about 5 years too early.
Too early.
I could go back right now and I could do a lot better.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I tell you what, we've got to do our tip of the week, and I have asked Marty to kind of hold back, but let's talk about different colored
Blades.
Blades. Yeah. Why black? Why? When do you switch?
I have fished a spinnerbait at night ever since the late 80s. We was some of the pioneering ones that done that on the Tennessee River. We was wiring them out down there and they couldn't figure out how we was catching them. I was out there flipping a worm around. We was catching them on the spinnerbait. But a lot of times, especially on a night when it's pitch black dark, they'll hit the blades. They're looking for any kind of flash from a minnow. But if you run into a situation to where they're slamming the blade and they're not getting a hook, you can take a black blade, the same size, in a number 6, and put it on there, and they'll lay off of that blade, and they'll go to hitting
they'll go hitting the actual bait itself.
That's right.
So that's good to know. And now, moonlit night, what would you start off with?
On a really moonlit night, something like this right here. This is an old color that we used to catch them on back in the 80s and 90s, and that's got a nickel blade on it. Sometimes they want the nickel, sometimes they want the gold, sometimes they want the nickel and gold mixed. And I know a lot of people ain't seen these blades right here. We had those specially made, but they're half gold and half nickel. And
how do they know, Marty? How do they know? I mean, it's dark water.
Well, that right there, that's got so much vibration off of it, you can hear it, when it gets close to the boat.
Oh, yeah.
Because those have got a tremendous thump.
All right. Well, you've heard that tip from Marty. We wish to thank Davidson County Farmers Co-op for sponsoring that. Go by and visit them out there on Dickerson Road, Davidson County Co-op. They will help you from rabbits to horses to cattle to chickens to anything you got. They can also your dogs and cats. Well, they can take care of them also. Also want to say they've got a lot of feeds that have vitamins and vitamin-rich food that you can feed your animals. You want to make sure that they can make it through this heat that we're fixing to have, 101, 102. So give them a holler, Davidson County Farmers Co-op. All right, we're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we've got a really good recipe for you. I think I already liked it because I've already had 2 of them. So hurry back to more of Southern Woods and Waters.